Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. And I want to offer an apology before we even get forward, before we even move forward. As you can see, this looks like a dollar store podcast because of a couple of reasons. One, I'm still having internet issues. They're coming tomorrow. There is an issue with one of the boxes on the outside. So I could stream. I just can't stream gameplay. And unfortunately, I have to reach out to Sean Labrie to get artwork overlays for 2 and 3 participants, which I don't have. I have it for 4 through 10, but not 4, 3, or 2. That's my fault. I should have done this. I should have had 1 through 10. For some reason, I was like, I'm never going to stream by myself. I'm never going to have 3 people on. Well, here we go. So I don't have it, and I can't play the gameplay. And I have recorded, folks, me doing 45 kills on the train board for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. 45. Listen, I know that some other people can be like, yeah, I get that in my sleep. Boom. I'm an old man. So when I do it, it's something special. We're going to talk about that because the beta just ended. I'm crushed. I mean, all I wanted to do was play some new games that I paid for, and all I could find myself doing is looking to shoot people in the face. And I was pretty damn good at it because I was averaging over 20 plus kills almost on every map, some of which I had was close to 30, which is great. But we're going to talk about that for a few minutes. We're going to get into the GTA 6 potentially. Again, this is a rumor being internally delayed at Rockstar. Now, that comes the way of an internet person that I'm not familiar with, but the reason why I want to talk about it and why it's headlining today's show is because ACG, someone that I absolutely not only love as a reviewer, but as a community member, he had some thoughts and theories on it. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of like E.F. Hutton. When he talks, I listen, and I'm talking about ACG. Now, again, when I say E.F. Hutton, there's going to be some people in the bed like, what is this old man talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about. It's fine. It's because I'm old. We're also going to get into the Tokyo Game Show. Apparently, we originally thought that Xbox was going to skip it. Turns out that, in fact, is not the case. They're going to be there in a big way, even though it's going to be a digital presentation. But we also going to segue into some of the conversation that Jez Corden had with Randall Thor on the Xbox 2 podcast about the entire slate, as it's being called, going to Xbox that currently is not available there. That is a really, really big deal. We're going to get to all of it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got already 237 people already watching. Hey, Steel Rain, good work that you've been doing. We were talking in the background. I kind of know what your game of the year is probably going to be, even you may want to not disclose that, but man, you've been doing some really killer streams with, of course, Space Marine 2, one of your favorite games to play, both the story and, of course, co-op. They have PSYOP missions. There's PvP. That game has got it going on. I haven't started it yet. As soon as this podcast is done, rest assured, I'm popping that bad boy on. How you feeling, man? Welcome.
Man, it's great to be back in the kingdom with you, Boom. Amongst all the other interesting things that have been happening on the news side, it's going to be really dope to get into those things. But yeah, man, I've been knee deep in that Space Marine life, man. For somebody who never a fan of Warhammer 40K or the lore and stuff like that, when I did play Space Marine for the first time last year, the first one, it did pique my interest. And to see Space Marine 2, a game that, again, from all the fans that I've been peeping up on, because I've been trying to tune into a little bit of the lore and stuff now as well, but from all those people who are involved with the Warhammer community inside of things are extremely excited that everybody's starting to catch on the universe of Warhammer at the very least through Space Marine 2, with it doing so well. And happy release day, as it should be out now at 11 a.m. as for all those who did end up getting that Ultra Deluxe edition, getting that 3-day early access. But yeah, man, it's been a good time. Really looking forward to chopping up about the topics, and gaming is just in such a beautiful place, man. So feeling good.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you here. Shout out to Rick L. Says, Boom, growing a gray beard. Yeah, apologies for this also. I hate it. I hate wearing a beard. But here's the reason. I worked out, and I only half worked out because obviously I was stressing getting the show started. So as soon as this is done, I'm gonna do the workout part too, because like I said, I'm in my 33rd week of doing the virtual boxing classes, and I have in the best shape of my life. I just had my yearly physical. I get 2 a year because of not me spending down 46 days down at ground zero. So I get 2 a year. Make sure that the NYPD's got to keep paying me. I'm the lowest weight I have been in 15 years. I am rocking at 207, which is bonkers for me because I'm usually 215, 220. I'm 6 feet, 207. Not bad for an old guy. So thank you so much for that. Again, I'm gonna shave the beard. I was working out, I was cleaning, and I hate this beard. So I'm gonna shave this. Thanks to you, Rigel. You've pushed me over the edge of madness. Appreciate that. But hey, Fuzzy Belvedere, listen, you hopefully got a lot of subs going, because you've been making the rounds on the socials. There are a lot of people coming for you with the pitchforks. And again, listen, I have blocked a lot of people that were giving you S for no reason other than having an honest opinion. And I think that's where we kind of get lost in the weeds. And I say we, I'm being facetious because I don't get lost in the weeds. If you like a game and I don't like a game, I'm not going to pee on your parade and tell you that it's drizzling. I'm not going to do that. Enjoy what you enjoy. If you think the game is a 14 out of 10, that is awesome. Just because I disagree, why you got to come for me? Because what we're dealing with is the internet, and the internet is filled with what I like to call keyboard cowards who are very quick to say all kinds of terrible things. Things that they would never say to an actual human's face, because why? They get their teeth knocked out. So again, I appreciate you, saying what you had to say on Friday on Breakfast with Boom regarding Astrobot.
Yeah,
you're allowed to have your opinion. Obviously, you talked about it not only on on Friday morning. You talked about it on Friday evening when you were with, of course, Pong Soul and Mav on the Xbox Ultimate podcast. So welcome. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. And shout out to all those that are angry at me for not liking Astrobot. Still don't like it, no matter what they say, but it is what it is. As long as they enjoy it, I guess that's all that matters. But I wonder, where's that same energy for games I like that they don't seem to like? But
yes,
it is what it is. But great to be here. Glad to be here with you and Steel Rain. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Big game right around. Well, probably not right around the corner, probably delayed, but we'll get into all of that. But man, GTA 6, it looks like it might be in time for Xbox's next generation console. We'll see.
I mean, that's the rumor. But look, I kind of want to just open up with the Call of Duty beta that just ended. Black Ops 6 is something special, Steel. I don't know how much of it you played. I know you got a good chunk of into it. And again, you're one of these guys like me. I don't need to play a game, especially I don't normally, for me, don't do betas because I don't want to get gummed up and get my thoughts and my theories for a game in a negative way because the game isn't running so great. So normally I skip betas, but Call of Duty, I was like, you know what? I have Game Pass Ultimate. Because of it, I didn't have to pre-order the game. I usually buy every Call of Duty. I usually buy the Vault Edition anyway at whatever the $100 edition is. And I very rarely take advantage of the multiplayer because I'm just not a multiplayer Call of Duty guy. At least I was back in the days. The last time I was this excited for a Call of Duty multiplayer was during the Xbox 360 era. Honestly, that was the last time that I can remember I was unbelievably amped to play multiplayer. And well, listen, Treyarch has done something special here. The Omni movement. I find myself, and look, I'm not going to front. If I was watching a video and you're watching people play, and I don't like to do that. I don't watch Twitch. It's just not my thing. I'm an old man. It's fine. People diving all over the place. I'm like, who does that? It's stupid. Let me tell you something. I am diving left, right, and center. I'm breaking through windows, through doors. I'm diving on my back. Bro, this game is so fast and it is so fun. Mind you, we only got a small sample because supposedly there's 16 new maps.
Yeah, there's gonna be more.
And we only got a small, taste of what they have out there. I love every map. There was, like for instance, my favorite is the train yard, probably because I usually get a lot of kills there. Like I'm running around like a lunatic, jumping off the top of trains. It's awesome. But I like my favorite board is probably the rewind board, the old school video store one. That one is awesome. It's got a fast food restaurant you're running through. It's
that was
man,
not bad. Solid.
Pretty good. Look, let's get your thoughts on beta 1 and 2. Is it a day one buy for you? I already bought the $30 upgrade from the first beta. I'm already locked in. I got to level 30. I maxed out my level 30 that you can get for the second beta. I played all weekend. I could not stop playing it. What are your thoughts on Treyarch's new entry into Call of Duty with Black Ops 6 multiplayer?
Well, beta 2 I didn't jump into this past weekend just because I'm already solidified on the game. The first beta weekend kind of did everything it needed to for me. And again, like you mentioned, Boom, earlier, I'm not typically the person that needs to play a gameplay slice to figure whether I need to spend some time with this game or not, or have any form of interest in it. And I've been a Call of Duty player for forever. So it's the second one I haven't jumped into, so I'm still locked at level 20. And I haven't spent any additional ducats on Call of Duty. I probably won't. The $30 additional bonus doesn't do anything for me. Personally, their skins and stuff that could be cool to some people, I think they're lame. But I am very I am known to be very critical when it comes to things that I prefer, that I like, or just art design wise or character design wise, or things that I would want to invest my extra ducats in. So for me, I'm getting into Call of Duty completely scot free as part of my Game Pass Ultimate membership. And if there ends up being characters that I end up liking or anything else like that, then that may be where some of my ducats end up getting spent, as it has in previous years, right? My characters from Warzone are going to continue to carry over into the next Warzone, so that's good information to have. It's unfortunate that they're not going to pass it into Black Ops, but again, Black Ops is also in a different time period. So again, trying to be as understanding as possible, but I do think that if you're going to combine everything as part of Call of Duty HQ, and that's been one of the main complaints this week with people, just people feeling really annoyed about how convoluted it is to get into Call of Duty. Like having this one platform where you can jump into, or just one source where you can jump into Call of Duty is good in concept, but if it's not smooth, if it's not effortless, if there's not any solid stepping stones to make sure that you can access whatever content that you're trying to get to, then people are going to feel a way about it. And with the way that Call of Duty has been doing things, hopefully they continue to address that. So when they get to launch, people have a little bit more of a choice about what they want to have to download. But I still find that, having to boot up one version of Call of Duty to then get into the game and say, oh, I want to play Black Ops 6, and then it close out of the game, at least on PC, that's what it does. It close out of the game and then bring the game back up. I just think that's annoying and dumb in a lot of ways. So we'll see if they end up addressing that. But just to stick on Black Ops 6, man, this is going to be, I'm going to stand on the hill, be on my mountaintop, or be on the edge of the cliff of people that are going to say, I think Black Ops 6 is going to move those numbers. I think Black Ops 6 could potentially bring in another 30 million people into Game Pass by the end of the year, just because it's not going to take much for people to get involved. The one thing that a lot of people seem to forget is that Call of Duty is one of the more streamed games by a multitude of creators, not just Call of Duty itself. There's other people who carry that content and have millions, not just the thousands of people we have in our community. I'm talking about millions of people who are hardcore who are Call of Duty people or just normies who tune into their content who may end up trying it because of it being in Game Pass. Oh, I have an Xbox. Oh, okay, I can get access to it if I got Xbox Ultimate. Okay, great. I'll try it out for a month. If I don't like it, I won't keep it. You know what I mean? So it's just there's so much utility and versatility that's going into this. I know some people are like, well, they're losing out on money. Well, isn't that the kind of the idea? Because they may be losing out on money, but they're also on the 70% side or more, because we don't know how that split is going to work now with them completely owning it, because before it was just Activision and them splitting it off with 70 going to Sony and the rest going to Microsoft or whatever. How is that split working now? And if we're just going to assume that it is the 70, then boom.
I believe it went back to 70-30. I'm pretty sure because during the Bobby Kotick era, it was 80-20 for both.
Oh,
PlayStation, 80% Activision, 20% Sony. And of course, right before the launch of the Series X and S, Bobby was like, hey, listen, it's 80-20 here as well. And Microsoft was like, well, we got to have Call of Duty. So, yep, we'll do it. And now, since Microsoft owned it, it went back to the standard of 70-30 for both.
Okay. So with that taken into consideration, they're already going to be making 40% additionally on what they were making before, right? And as you can tell, if the numbers haven't proved anything, you see the chart for the most played games over the year, and a year later, 2 years later, it is Call of Duty still in that top 5, top 10 list. So with that being said, I don't know why people are concerned about who's going to be purchasing this game, because people are going to buy it regardless. And again, this does happen to be a decent Call of Duty, a solid Call of Duty that is launching and really invigorating the crowd. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, man. I continue to see more and more people have fun with it. I know some people are down on it right now. I saw somebody in the chat talk about it, saying Black Ops 6 was trash. Hey, man, again, I've been saying on X, like he mentions the hit detection. Hey, BX, I don't know if it's your connection. I don't know what you got going on. Maybe you got rats in your closet that are messing things up for you. I didn't have any of those issues. I'm a big stickler about connection issues, AI issues. I have like a lot of my personal gripes that I don't enjoy in games. I didn't experience any of that in the multiplayer. Maybe you did. I did also. Again, I'm having that cyberpunk work for me, but it didn't work for everybody else kind of thing going on, where I heard people complaining about packet loss and the lag and connection. And I never once experienced any of that.
Nope.
Not a blip. Right. It could play completely smooth for me. So again, to each their own. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And again, we're moving further into Omni movement is going to farm through a lot of people, and people are going to find out whether it is something still for them or not. And again, Boom being a good example. He says he's not typically the Call of Duty guy. Listen to him, guys. It's his show. He's been doing this for a minute. He's not a liar. You know what I mean? He gives you to you live, raw, and uncut, like I like to say. And if you take his words at face value, if he's having a good time with it, then obviously I'm pretty sure that other people are as well. So
look, I mean, great points all around. And I got a theory to what you're saying. Like I see the talk. The concerned podcasters for the lifeblood of Call of Duty and how much money Activision and Microsoft are going to make. Let me throw a theory out there, okay? And you actually alluded to this, and I think your particular point is perfect, Steele. You just said that you're going to be playing Call of Duty through your subscription service. That's $20 a month called Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And if a skin happens to pop that you're like, I like that operator. Like I'm using the guy, the Android guy with his guts hanging out, right? That's the dude I'm using for the one side, and I'm using the guy all dressed in armor and black. He has like an orange mask on. That's the one I use. That's the operator I use for. I think he's the Black Ops ones that went rogue, if I'm not mistaken. I bought the $30 upgrade, which is a standard fare for anyone that has Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. You could do that with, you did that with, the Bite Back edition for Redfall. Obviously, he did that with Starfield, and it's a thing. And what's interesting is because for a lot of regular gamers, not the people that are in the trenches fighting this invisible console war, they're more likely to upgrade to the $30 and spend the $30 to upgrade to get the extra stuff because they're not buying the game. And that's that 76.43 that you're not spending on that game steal will open you up as a consumer to not feel obligated, but to feel, hey, I got the game. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm playing multiplayer. It's a blast. Best multiplayer in years. Oh, look, here is this $15 skin. $15 and $20 skins are not a foreign thought. That has become the standard fare since like Fortnite became a thing.
Yes, it's Fortnite popularized it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so they popularized you going out and buying an Indiana Jones skin or a Kratos skin or because you like the character and you're playing the game. But what's interesting here is this monster-sized game is going into Game Pass. And you think that it's going to balloon the numbers. And I am going to then second that because I think you're onto something. There is going to be a subset of people that, again, if we're being fair and honest, if we're going to have an earnest conversation, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I understand that the casual audience or the normies, if you want to call them that, aren't buying as many games as Steel, as me, as you, as Fuzzy. They're not. They buy 3 games a year. But the thing that's not strange to them, Fuzzy Belvedere, is services. Streaming services are a normal, everyday part of life for even the normie community because of Netflix and because of all of the other streaming services. Name your favorite 10. We probably all have 10 of them at least. Xbox Game Pass, and again, to be fair, let's call a spade, and I'm looking at you, Xbox. I don't understand how you could be a $3 trillion company and not figure this shit out. Like, get your ducks in order and sell the goddamn service, which is the most affordable and most valuable service available today on any platform. Why don't you have people in place? There are people making lots of zeros. Why can't they figure this out? I am baffled by the stupidity of them. Honestly, it shocks me how no one. When I tell friends Game Pass, like what is Game Pass? Oh, it's service like Netflix except for Xbox, and you get all these games. Why am I selling it? I'm not getting $1 of the service for free. I'm paying like everyone else. So they need to figure that out. But Fuzzy, let's go back to some of the things that Steele said about. Did you get a chance to play the beta? Are you interested? Being that it is, that it's going to be an Xbox Game Pass, and more importantly, do you think that there is going to be ballooning numbers? Because I think Steele is honestly onto something here. I think you're going to see numbers because it's Call of Duty. Look what happened with Starfield. It had it broke records for new subscription members or new subscribers to Xbox Game Pass than any game before it. And that was Starfield. Now, Starfield is, it's Bethesda, it's Todd Howard. We didn't know much about the game. Right. But it's not, that's it. That's it, Steele. It's not Call of Duty. Let's talk about it.
Well, got to play it a little bit. I have to say the Omni movement, I definitely do want to see it make its appearance in other games. Yeah.
It might have to come to Halo. Just saying.
Between playing a little bit of that and playing like what do you call it, State of Decay 2, I would love to see that State of Decay 3, although it doesn't have to be as extreme, but like jumping through the windows, they have it where you just kind of jump sideways, maybe jump face forward into the window and shooting through the window at the same time might be something to see. But the little bit of time I had with it, had a ton of fun with it, but still looking forward mainly to the campaign. So still not completely sold on the multiplayer. Just I'm not that multiplayer guy, more of a co-op or single player guy. But the fun is definitely to be had with that new movement. Looking forward to zombies, but campaign's the main thing I'll be looking forward to. But as far as when it comes to this being in Game Pass, I do think this will inflate the numbers as far as for not inflate, but like draw a lot more people to the service. I don't know what kind of number we're going to see, but I would say a couple million right off the rip is going to probably be a reasonable guesstimate. And I would say that's just probably going to be like the console, like I would say ultimate, subscribers. Beyond that, like as far as PC, I think you do see quite a few, give it a try, at least play the campaign that way, and then probably stick around for a bit, for some of the other stuff that's in, PC Game Pass and stuff. But I think as far as Microsoft is concerned, when it comes to advertising Game Pass, it's kind of like I don't know. I guess they figure, oh, the deal is so great, then it should speak for itself, which is kind of true. But in the grand scheme of things, they had that partnership with GameStop. And I still don't know why that's not a bigger push in every GameStop, which then again might be a little counterintuitive for GameStop because they're into selling, physical copies and stuff. But they do have the digital cards and things like that. And I think if they do get somebody to sign up for Game Pass, there is like a percentage that they still get as a kickback. But in the grand scheme of things, they should use or leverage that partnership a little bit more. I know that they're in front of the store for a lot of the locations. So Call of Duty and Game Pass should be front and center. But overall, I do think if people wind up picking up Game Pass as a service to play Call of Duty, you will see a lot more people buy skins, like you guys were saying, from like looking at everything for the free to play, like Fortnite and stuff like that. Buying a skin at that point when you're paying a monthly fee and you get access to Call of Duty plus a whole bunch of other games, it doesn't seem as out of sorts as opposed to the person that may have spent $100 right off the rip for the Vault Edition or something, and then pay extra for skins on top of that. So I think we will see, or at least Microsoft themselves will probably see a lot more revenue as far as for the add-ons and skins and things along those lines. I don't think they're going to lose any sales overall as far as when it comes to compared to other years. This is definitely going to outperform like one of their worst Call of Duties, which I think was like 11 mil within like a couple of month period. And that was the one where they were in space. And that was one of their slower ones where people were talking about boycott Call of Duty. And it still hit 11 million in a couple of months. So I do think this one, I won't say it necessarily doubles it right off the rip, but you're going to be looking at 20 million copies of this Call of Duty probably sold between, the first 6 months or the first 8 months of its lifespan. You'll probably add at least a few million subscribers, maybe more over time, especially when all the other Call of Duty start hitting the service. I think that's when you see the bigger, transition, because at that point, if somebody skipped the Call of Duty, like I skipped, was it Vanguard and a couple other ones in the past, that might be the time for somebody to actually come over to the service and be like, you know what? I don't have to worry about the library I had somewhere else or the platform I was on somewhere else, or, the fact that they were on a previous gen console. They might, do the upgrade, get a Series S, do Game Pass and go from there and have pretty much access to all the Call of Duties. But yeah, it's definitely going to do some big numbers. I would say it's probably going to be the biggest selling game this year. I mean, shout out to Black Myth Wukong, but it's not going to be like Hogwarts, I think, was the only game that really beat out Call of Duty last year. But that was from February all the way through the following February. And Call of Duty was only edged out by a couple mil from like that November or October to like that same February. So it's a much shorter period, and it's selling as much as what Hogwarts did. So I expect this one to do, pretty much the same. But the Game Pass subscriptions, they were at 35 million. I think the last time they talked to us, I wouldn't be surprised if they, spit out a number like 45 mil or something like that, before the year is out or going early into the next year.
Well, let's just let's just use some information. I'm a numbers guy, folks. You know that. Evidence-based conversation is my favorite because you can have your opinion, but you can't argue the numbers, right? So just for shits and giggles, I went and looked up and just checked. What did Modern Warfare 3, last year's stinker, according to IGN, who gave it what, a 3 or a 4, right? How many copies of that game sold across all platforms in 24 hours? 6.5 million of them, folks. So I'm here to tell you that there's a reason why the marketing for Black Ops started a couple of months ago, right? Remember when it ramped up? You know, like people were like, "Oh my God, they defaced the Washington monuments," right? And they're like, "No, that's not real. It's fake. It's fake. It's real. It's not real." They started all those months ago. The beta has been out. They had 2 betas. Obviously, it's coming out next month. This is gonna break $1 billion in the first week. There's just no doubt about it. And again, this is, I could be wrong, and maybe I am wrong, but I'm gonna throw out a number here. I say it sells in its first 24 hours 10 million copies. This is the biggest Black Ops I think since like 1 or 2. Like it's people are buzzing. And again, I'd like to still kind of put me on pedestal here. If I'm not a Call of Duty guy, folks, you know that. I go right like Fuzzy immediately to the single player. Not this time around. I am going right to multiplayer and getting my ranks on, because I couldn't stop playing it. It was so much fun, unlocking all the different parts. Everyone's gun is different. Everyone's gun looks different. I'm gonna definitely spend some money on the operator skins. I mean, I bought a couple for Modern Warfare 3 for zombies. I bought Ash and a few others, but I listen. At the end of the day, gentlemen, great way to open up the show. We are 33 minutes into it. I do want to Steel, want to go right to you and get to the big one. So GTA 6 rumored to be internally delayed at Rockstar Games. Now, where does this come from? Well, originally it was posted by the post has been deleted. He deleted the original poster, which I should have taken a picture. I had just the link, and now I can't get to it. It was Bill C. Liam GTA. I don't know who this person is. They obviously they deleted their account. Then at their account, the original post. It's a rumor. It's a rumor that everyone that all the big media sites reported on. I wanted to go right to the source, which of course is ACG. And obviously, I'm going to read ACG's tweet, which he did not delete. It's right here in front of me, and it says, responding to the rumor that GTA 6 is going to be delayed, or it has been internally delayed at Rockstar Games. He says this, ACG. LOL, looks like I may win Friday's podcast bet that this turned out to be real. And of course, they were talking specifically about the rumor that GTA was going to get delayed until 2026. He says this: GTA 6 can delay as long as it wants, though I hope it doesn't have to, but I want it to be ready, not early. Again, some people are saying this is fake. Some people are, look, if it's anyone else but ACG that's having a conversation, then maybe we're not even talking about it. But look, I'll say this. I would imagine, and again, my thoughts and theories started running, because remember, I had given Microsoft a little bit of a push, if you will, that I think, and I still think, it was a mistake not to grab the marketing for this, even if it would have cost them $1 billion. And I say that of someone that has no control of what Microsoft does with their money. I don't have a degree. I'm not a money market manager. My opinion is probably looked at someone at Microsoft's probably laughing at me right now. What the hell is that knucklehead? No. But I'm just saying that if you're trying to snag the zeitgeist of an IP, you own Call of Duty. You bought Activision. No one ever saw that coming. I mean, it's still shocking to me that next month Call of Duty is dropping into Game Pass. Like, it doesn't even seem like it's real. So if I want to put boot on neck, as we've seen many people in this chat say, hashtag boot on next season, I go and I get this marketing. because whether it comes out in 2025 Steel or 2026, if you have the marketing for GTA 6 and you own Call of Duty, I mean, everyone is going to be talking about your box and more specifically your platform. Again, it's done. The rumor is that Sony has the marketing, and I know there's a lot of people like, well, Sony doesn't have money, and that's, I mean, they're still a $1 billion company. They're not, they're not a $1 trillion company. They're not Microsoft by any stretch of the truth, but they still are a $1 billion company. And where are they getting this money from? And I think this should be easily like logical, is that they didn't have to spend all the money that they were spending on Call of Duty marketing, because that marketing is now, well, Xbox. So they don't have to spend all of those millions of dollars, maybe even $1 billion. I don't know what the marketing was. I know it was very pricey for Sony. They took that money and then obviously took that bag and now gave it to 2K. Do you think that there's any legitimacy to the fact that GTA 6 could in fact been delayed? Because again, I'm asking the chat, does anyone know if the voice actor strike is over? Because if it's not, that's probably holding it up. What are your thoughts, Steele?
Looks like I was muted there. I was going to say, I do know that previously Strauss had mentioned, and again, of course, he's going to say this to make sure everything is going to be good as far as shareholders and stuff goes. But Strauss mentioned that strike would have no effect on GTA. So I'm going to be under the assumption that it has no effect on GTA. Maybe they all have all that stuff done. At this point in the game dev cycle, I would imagine it's more on the back end side of things, as far as making sure that the game is as polished as possible, works as intended. AI is what is doing what it needs to be done, because again, GTA is a very expansive game, and they're going to be incorporating things from previous GTAs into this one. For an example, like the workout system, or just the lifestyle kind of system that you had in San Andreas, that I think is one of the best implemented systems, RPG like systems that have been implemented in those open world style games. Because if you ate too much, you got fat. If you worked out, you got big. There was just, it made that world feel a little bit more lived in, and that is something that they're bringing into GTA 6 as well. So that's just one example of some of the things that they're trying to do in here, along with still giving us this vast space to in Florida to kind of take advantage of. I do want to bring up this as well. And again, regardless of how you feel about the guy, Jason Schreier, right? Jason Schreier is in the industry. He does have connections to people that we don't have connections to. He's able to get information that we don't have, that we're not typically able to get. So I take the things that he says at face value, and that's it. He does say, the internet and my DMs blew up this weekend over a rumor that GTA 6 is delayed. Good news is that 6 Rockstar employees all told me they have not heard of any delay. Bad news, it's a big, ambitious game. It could very well slip. Too much time left to say anything definitive. Now, to the point of the 6 Rockstar employees, I'm not going to put extreme weight on that either, because there's been too many times where the people at the top knows what's going on and the people at the bottom don't. There could be a delay imminent and nobody else knows. It hasn't been sent to the email. Again, people are getting fired same day or getting fired in an email. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to say that these 6 Rockstar employees know exactly what's happening on every crevice of Rockstar and their release schedule, what they're planning to do. They may not know. But if we're going to take this at face value and say, hey, well, GTA 6 is going to be delayed or it's not going to be delayed, I do think that GTA 6 needs to be delayed, to be given itself as much time as necessary. GTA does not need to have another 360 generation kind of snafu where they release the game day one and the game does not work as intended. Now, the story worked fine, which again, and many people have forgot about this, but the entire reason that they delayed the online for GTA 5 was because they were having back-end issues, but they also said they wanted people to experience the story. So obviously that they knew they had something then. They're going to have to release GTA Online with 6 as well. And there's going to need to be as much time and effort put into that side of it, because I'm telling you, GTA 6, GTA as of current, GTA as I know it, is not known for its story mode. There's only a couple, maybe a few GTAs you can throw in there, maybe a DLC that really stand out for people. But the reason GTA did as well as it did this time around, and people do not need to get this mistaken, this is something I've gone back and forth upon with, is because of the online.
Yes.
Point blank, period. People can care less what that single player is going to be like. I know people that enjoy it, but that is also something we have to be aware of and be wary of, because the people who are writing GTA before, although I don't think the writing then was the greatest, are not there anymore.
They're gone. Yep.
So are we going to have a what's the name of the other game that's like it, but it was supposed to be the more Saints Row? Is it going to be a Saints Row snafu where people have these issues with how the story is being told and everything? I don't know. We'll see. But I do know if that online is not where it needs to be, that is going to be where it falls flat at, and they have to make sure that they get this together. The other thing as well, I still think it's unacceptable for the game to release at anything less than 60 on modern gen consoles. Point blank, period. I don't care what excuse people want to give it. I don't care what people say. Playing GTA at 60 versus 30, we are not 20. This is not 15 years ago. They had 10 years to create this game. They're going to spend $1 billion doing so. They just made almost 10 billion off the last game. Are we going to raise our expectations as consumers and actually ask for more and set a standard, or are we going to continue to get rolled over? Now, if you want to buy whenever it does end up releasing, if you want to buy it day 130 on whatever console that you want to, great. But again, I don't want to hear you complain about all the other games that come out that aren't with the frame rate that you wanted to be, that aren't the resolution that you wanted to be. I'm telling y'all, people are going to stop taking y'all's opinion as serious if you're not going to stand ground and be consistent. Right now, the further it gets delayed, the more chance it may release on console at 60, because if it's not, I will wait the year for the game to release, because again, PC has carried GTA Online this time around. RP, role-playing, is why GTA is as big as it is today, right now. So, without those things in play, there's just got a lot of factors in the air that are kind of like, I don't know, how is this going to play out? Is this going to play out? And I want Rockstar to truly show people, because they did their thing with single player Red Dead, but they couldn't do it with Red Dead Online. Right. Red Dead Online 2 died very quickly.
Very quickly.
Are you going to be able to transition GTA Online from 5 into 6? And is the 10 plus year gap that you've given this game, is it going to have all the innovation that we look for from out of Rockstar? And those are the things that I'm more so looking for, excited about to get news on. And I want to see more trailers and stuff if they end up having another one that can give us a little bit more of a better representation of what to expect. So that's kind of what I'm expecting out of GTA right now. The delay, I hope it gets as much time as it needs to. So,
interestingly enough, I just had that conversation with someone, which again, we talk in private channels, what we all do. And that exact sentiment came up. How do you transition the Grand Theft Auto 5 players? And there are millions of them. And they make so much money monthly on GTA Online that it's egregious, right? That's how much money they make. It's unfathomable that sometimes when you talk about how much money they are making from these shark cards and everything else they sell there, right? Remember, GTA 6 is next gen. And now, can anyone confirm that? I don't think this is releasing on old gen consoles.
No, it's current. It's going to be current gen only.
So it's going to be Series X, PC, Series S, and PS5.
Well, not PC
PS5
right now, as of right now.
Oh no, well, that's right. PC is 12 to 18 months,
which I think is also a miss. But
well, that's they
raise
want
the
people to buy the game
expectation
twice. That's what they want you. That's a 2K way. So it's going to be on the PS5 and on the Series X consoles only. Are those people that are on PS4s and Xbox One X and S's going to go out and buy next-gen hardware? Well, if there's one game they're going to go buy next-gen hardware for, it's probably GTA. which again gets into why I think Microsoft should have spent the money to get the marketing, because then they could have sold their consoles a branded console with both Call of Duty and GTA, and it would have been a bloodbath. They would have logistically taken over market share because people would have come to their system to get a cheaper Series X, which of course is going to be cheaper than the PS5 Pro, and a Series S is the cheapest one, your cheapest entry point. Buzzy, so I went and I pulled up the story, and I got this from rockstarintel.com. And his story was written by Aaron Truman, posted today. And its lead title is GTA 6 not delayed into 2026 yet. Okay, so it goes on to say this: GTA 6 has not been delayed to 2026 from fall 2025, according to a recent rumor that said it would be. It has been a long and fiery few days for the GTA community, battling it out online over waiting more months for GTA 6. It all stems from a tweet from a GTA community member. It's Billsy Liam GTA, which set social media ablaze. The tweet said the game had been delayed to 2026. According to the user, this information was coming from multiple developers across two of Rockstar Games' different offices. Now, obviously, this goes against what Steele just read verbatim from Jason Schreier, who, again, I don't like him as a human, but he does have a lot of connections, and obviously, this is what he's putting out there. I have no reason not to believe him, but of course, now you have two different conflicting reports. He said, like, Steele read it verbatim, that it's a massive game. It's a big game. It has to release with GTA Online, just like Steele said, and I think Steele's onto something. If it can't release and be the transitional GTA Online from 5 to 6 that it needs to be for 2K to make a ridiculous amount of money, then they're probably going to have to delay it, because you got to remember, they're going to have to move people. What if they move people from 5 to 6? They go buy a new console, they're playing 6, and the GTA Online servers don't work the way GTA 5 was working. I think that in itself might be an issue. And again, I don't know if there is an issue or not, but what are your thoughts on the conflicting information on a delay? And I think Steele's onto something here. GTA 6 Online has to be flawless when it releases.
Yeah. I think the big thing is we kind of forget Rockstar is famous, especially when it comes to Grand Theft Auto. They announce a date, and that I don't think there's been a time they've announced a date and released it, except for on mobile. This doesn't surprise me that there's talk of it getting delayed. I would say for the most part, people should expect it. If you've been playing GTA at least since 1 and 2, or at least by 2, you should know, hey, expect a delay, even if it's maybe a week or a couple of months. I would expect a delay regardless. But given when it normally releases, if they were talking about fall or winter of 25, I think they give it a whole year, and it would make sense, especially if they want to get online up and running and be so you can pretty much pick up where you left off, kind of thing. Well, I don't know if they'll do any carryover, like, oh, you get one free house and one free car, whatever type of thing. But they need to have all of that, have the lights ready to flick the switch type of thing, and everybody can hop on there and they can start printing money again type of deal. But I kind of expected to get delayed, which we've talked about, like Microsoft and marketing for it, and come to find out, if it winds up being delayed into this next generation window where they're talking like 2026 for their next gen console, then it won't matter as far as for the marketing, because they'll be the only next gen console at that point in time. I especially now, and I was kind of hoping PlayStation would have delayed the PS5 Pro for the fact that Microsoft had already made mention that we're going to do next gen, so why not push that forward to being the PS6? But they're going to do what they're going to do, especially with them raising prices on controllers and whatnot. But all things aside, I think if this game does get delayed, it'll benefit Xbox the most, pending on their next gen, approach, whether it's a handheld, which I can imagine the amount of people that would love to play GTA via handheld, or just a much greater box by your TV than what these current gen consoles are today, and being able to play probably 60 right out the gate, which I doubt any of these consoles are going to play anything GTA related, as far as GTA 6 anyway, at 60 frames. So, and that includes for the Pro. So maybe next gen is the the kill shot for Xbox in that regard. They have the hard, if they build the hardware that I think they're trying to lean towards, as far as a set top box type of thing, then it shouldn't be a problem. But GTA, man, right now, like kind of like what Steele touched on with Dan Houser no longer being there, I've always had my concerns that maybe this isn't going to be the hit that people think it is. Maybe we see something where, and not to take it lightly or anything like that, but GTA 5 is very successful as far as for the online and multiplayer and microtransaction aspect. But just imagine where that's the main game, but it has story mixed in. So you could either be in do not disturb mode and not have people rob you while you're trying to do story stuff. I kind of envision that might wind up being the way this game plays out. So if anything, just give them all the time that they need as far as for fleshing things out. I still don't think that they're going to have a price that people expect. Like, I know some people are expecting it to be 70 for the base game. Others are like, no, I've heard it's 100 or 200. And and I'm kind of wondering if they don't just go the WoW route. Basically 70 for the single player. You want to play online, you pay a monthly fee. And if you don't pay the monthly fee, you're homeless. And you can, try to climb your way up the ladder to earn money, in game, but it's going to be so counterintuitive. You'll probably want to pay the monthly, almost like their VIP, but a little bit more turbocharged with your rewards and things like that. But we'll see how all that plays out. But I honestly think this is a game that probably gets delayed just because it's Rockstar and they are perfectionists. Even if they don't release all of their games perfect right out of the gate, they are perfectionists. So if there's the slightest thing that they feel is going to be a problem that will counter sales, they're going to delay the game to do so. And remember, after the data breach, they kind of rushingly said that, that didn't affect any timing of the game and stuff like that. Who knows? We'll see if this winds up being delayed. But I lean on just history of Rockstar. It's probably going to be delayed. It'll be to Xbox's benefit with their next generation console in 26. And we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. So get all of your kicks out of GTA 5 in the meantime. And I don't know, maybe somebody should start a petition about seeing if your cash carries over. But we all know that's not going to happen. But we'll see.
Again, fantastic points from both you and Steele. Look, whether it's delayed or it's not, I'll put it to this way: Fuzzy made mention of something pretty interesting. Hypothetically, if it is delayed into 2026, which would be holiday, or I mean, first quarter, right? First half. If the rumor serves itself to be true and Xbox launches its new hardware or hardwares, meaning a handheld and a box underneath your TV, it is going to be the most powerful console, right? There was some talk about the PS5 Pro. If Pro is announced tomorrow, and again that was something we weren't going to really cover. Mark Cerny is having a presentation. It's 9 minutes tomorrow, where they're going to talk potentially about PS5 Pro. I would imagine you're going to get pricing. It's going to let you know about what it can do as opposed to your current PS5. Again, I'll be tuning in for a whole whopping 9 minutes. It's very weird to me, but fine, whatever. But we'll find out if the Pro is real and if it's releasing this year. There was a lot of talk about the Pro taking advantage and running GTA, at 60 frames. That's not happening, folks. It's going to be 30. Steel wants it 60. He's not wrong for that, but the game is going to run at 30 across the board. And it's not because of the potato either. It is going to be because that's what they wanted to run at is 30. I could be wrong. It's fine. But again, great points all around. I think that if it does release in 26, advantage Xbox, simply because they're going to have the more powerful hardware. If it releases in 25, in holiday of 25, advantage PlayStation. One, because they have the marketing, and two, they'll have a year and some change under their belt of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it's probably going to potentially, and again, I'm only assuming that it would run better than the Series X, but I am not a tech guy, so what do I know? Real quick, before we move on to the last topic of the show, this one's a big one. I should have opened up the show with this, and I feel almost like ashamed that I didn't. Happy 25th anniversary to the Sega Dreamcast.
Ooh,
$99.99. I remember that very fondly, and here's why, folks. At that particular moment in time, I had what did I have on the job? I had 5 years. I just got out of. You get out of rookie after being on the job for a year, but I just made my 5th year on the job. And I remember $99.99 being for a couple of reasons. One, my brother, Neo Mental, was the manager of the GameStop. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't GameStop at the time. It was Funcoland in Central Avenue in Yonkers, New York. Anyone from New York remember Central Avenue? It used to be right across the street from the big Nathan's 200 cabinet arcade that is gone. I really wish that was still there. And I'll say this, in the form of launch games, there has not been even close to a launch lineup like the Sega Dreamcast. It had, I think it was like 20 something games. It might have been like 26. And why it's interesting, why it's so memorable for me is, well, a couple of reasons. One, I bought every launch game that released that day. There was not a game that I did not buy. I bought everything. Gun, remember that Western gun? Dope.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a game I didn't own. I bought everything. But why it's so memorable is that particular day was a torrential, like a monsoon kind of a rain here in New York. And the highway, it rained so bad that they closed the Hutchinson River Parkway, which is how you got, there's other ways to get up to Yonkers, but that's the particular road that I took. I wind up taking the streets from New Rochelle all the way up to Yonkers. And I got up there, and my brother, I actually think I drove him home that day because I usually picked him up from work. And he came. It was a monsoon. So again, happy 25th anniversary to one of the best consoles in the history of consoles. Fight me. I have 3. Someone actually gifted me one from the community, which was in the box brand new. Right, I have a brand new one here. I have both my OG ones, the Japanese, which I imported, and the black one, the black one for the United States. And I have about, I want to say close to 100 physical games. I have everything. Like you could imagine, I have everything when I tell you. I even got the light guns. Mrs. Boom and I used to play House of the Dead all the time. So freaking good. But gentlemen, any quick Dreamcast stories you guys don't want to throw out there to the masses?
Nah, no. The only thing that I have is Sonic Adventure, man. It just continued to show me why I love Sonic. But other than that, I never was able to get any of the VMUs or anything special like that. So that was like the continuation of leaving the console on all night, letting that CD spin so I can pick up where I left off.
Mom, don't shut off the power.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Shout out to Dreamcast.
Real quick, you mentioned Sonic Adventure. This is another story. I think I might have told this before. There's a friend of mine. His name is Jada Destroyer. He's on every Game of the Year podcast. He's old. He's one of my oldest friends. And that's a funny story because the year of the Dreamcast, I did one of the most cardinal sin things I could. You ever do something? You ever trade in something or sell something that you look back and you're like, that's the one moment in time I wish I could go back and just punch myself in the face and say, don't do it. So as everyone knows, I'm a GI Joe guy. I've been a GI Joe guy since 1982. My pops used to buy the one with the lifelike beard, like I'm growing right now, and I like the 12, the old school 61s. But I was GI Joe for me was the 80s. 1982 is when it released. I wound up getting that Stalker, Zap, and the Vamp for my birthday, my 12th birthday. So I've always been a GI Joe fan. Now in 1998, the Sega Dreamcast came out in Japan. And if you wanted to import it, it came with the console, the regular controller, a secondary controller, 2 VMUs, one of which was a Godzilla one, a special edition one that came with Ghidra, which is obviously the three-headed it's Monster Zero, like a little Monaquito, like a little figurine. And 4 games. Pen Triathlon, which was a penguin racing game. Virtual Fighter. There was one that was completely in Japanese, which was just a throwaway game. It was like a dating game or something. I don't know what the hell it was. It came with it. Whatever. And it was about $1,500 to import it, right? Which is like wow, right? So I'm a rookie cop at that point. We do you know how much money we brought home every 2 weeks as a cop back in the 90s? $823 after tax.
Yep.
Just ridiculous to risk your life for that kind of money, but it's a career, right? It's fun. So I had, and I want you to just imagine this. I was both an inbox, on card collector, as well as opening the figures for display. So I used to buy 2 of everything for G.I. Joe. And I had about, I'm making myself sick just thinking about it. I had about 400 on-card Joes and Cobras, and some of which were like from like the 80s that I would go to conventions, you'd find them, you get them. I even had Snake Eyes 82 on card, right? Ridiculous. He's worth thousands right now. So what I did is I took these 4 boxes that I had, and I want to say they were about 4 feet long and probably about 3 feet wide, to a local comic shop called Cosmos Comics that used to be on Westchester Square in the Bronx. Anyone from the Bronx, you know what I'm talking about. And I know Cosmos for years because I used to walk the beat in there when I was a rookie cop. So I was like, "Hey, Cosmos, oh my God, listen, this Dreamcast." He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I want to sell my G.I. Joe collection. So I wanted $1,500. He's like, "Yeah, that's too much money there, Craig. I'm a small his mom and pop place." Like, so he got me down to $1,200, and I sold all my Joes. And then I obviously put the extra money in. I imported the Dreamcast. Now, granted, I'm not sorry that I did, but I got rid of my G.I. Joe collection. Just travesty of justice. Travesty of justice. Sorry that we're going off on a tangent here. I just wanted to tell my story. But getting back to Sonic, Jada Destroyer and I, he came over Christmas Eve, and we waited like snipers for the UPS guy to show up with our imported copies of Sonic Adventure, where him and our good friend Mike, they stayed up all night playing the game. I stayed up all night playing that game, and it's one of my favorite Sonics of all time. The first time you see the whale break through and it's chasing you, man, just so good. Everything about the Dreamcast is such great, especially if you're an SNK and Capcom fan. They really supported the shit out of that console. But again, if you didn't like the stories, folks, and you're already tuned out, Apologies. I'm an old man. I have old stories. But Steele, let's get into some big news. Now, obviously, the Tokyo Game Show is happening, and that's happening soon. Now, we have Tina Amini, who runs all of the shows for Xbox, and ever since she has been running the shows, all she's been doing is killing it. Like, she's former IGN. She now works exclusively with Xbox, and she heads on all of the shows, and they have been spectacular since she has taken over. There's just no doubt about it. So on September 5th, Xbox Wire had announced that the Xbox Tokyo Game Show broadcast is returning Thursday, September 26th. And here for the United States, at least for the East Coast, for us, it is going to be 6 a.m. Eastern. So that's a Thursday. Whatever happens there, I'll be talking about it that Thursday afternoon. Now, what she said was this in an official tweet from her Twitter account. We've got a little more news coming for you because my team's work is never done. Also, please admire our show's visuals, which I definitely, probably had a little bit of fun with in our GFX package. So, of course, she's talking about the show. Now, what's interesting is a tweet that comes the way of VGT Gaming News. It's at VPT Gaming News on Twitter. You should definitely follow them. They have a lot of followers and obviously making the rounds or making the news, I should say, Steele, is, well, Jez Corden of Windows Central. Now, he had a lot of things to say, and where he said them was on the last week's Xbox 2 podcast with Randall Thor, his partner in crime. And here's some of the commentary, thanks to, again, VGT Gaming News, who actually put it into a post where it's very easily digestible. I did watch the Xbox 2 podcast, phenomenal podcast. If you missed it, definitely go check it out. But this is what Jez had to say. Jez says this. He has heard that the quote-unquote whole slate of Final Fantasy is coming to Xbox, and it's coming to Xbox soon. Goes on to say Final Fantasy VII Remastered, Final Fantasy 16, and Pixel Remastered is coming to Xbox. And this is what he also had to say. I've heard that the whole slate on the docket, including Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 16, and Pixel Remastered. A lot of people were wondering, does Sony have locked down the Final Fantasy VII forever? He says, I have heard that is not the case, that Final Fantasy VII will eventually come to Xbox. I don't know when it will, and I don't know if it will be in the first wave of games coming over. What I would personally expect is that you'll probably be able to expect, again, I'm just reading verbatim, to expect Pixel Remasters as well as Final Fantasy 16 initially. I think like Square Enix right now, Final Fantasy 16 is more relevant than Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I 1,000% disagree with that. I would much rather play Final Fantasy 7 Remake. For me, that's what I would rather play than 16. But he also says this. They can't really, there's something that they need to work out when it comes to Final Fantasy VII Remake, because it's like you got a remake and then it's into Rebirth, right? You can't release them. You can't. So you've got to be a bit more, have a bit more thought process to go into how you release those games on Xbox. Again, folks, I'm just reading verbatim from the report. Look, they're going to be there in a big way. They have already said that they're going to be showing games from Activision, showing games from Bethesda, showing games from Xbox Game Studios, and obviously there's going to be a big Square Enix announcement. There's no doubt about it. What are your thoughts on, the whole slate finally landing on Xbox? And my question part 2 or B here is, do you think that Microsoft drops a bag and gets all of these games in Xbox Game Pass? Because that would be huge.
I I think it's definitely time, man. Square Enix has been hitting at this for some time. I mean, Square Enix has also made their own big misses. I think after Babylon's Fall, that really exposed some things to them, because I'm pretty sure they spent a good penny on that game,
Yep.
and get servers up and running for it and everything, and it closed down very quickly as well. Again, within its first year, and you're seeing how the Final Fantasy games are performing and whatnot. Now, for me, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but I'm not a Final Fantasy fan so much to the point where I don't appreciate them changing game styles and whatnot. Mainly because I'm not the turn-based dude no more. I'm just not. I'm not into that. I was back in the day when I played Final Fantasy VII originally, when I played Final Fantasy IX. Again, those are some of my favorite experiences from back in the day. But again, if I wanted to play a mobile game, I would play that on my phone. And that's how I see those games, right? But again, I know that's a me thing more than anything, and me and Paul go back and forth about that. So I appreciate what they have done. Final Fantasy 15 pulled me back into Final Fantasy. My enjoyment of it, I really enjoyed everything that they had in that game. Again, since I last played, they also reworked some of the story and the ending, so it was a bit better. My wife played it, had an extreme amount of fun in it. So I'm extremely excited about the potential of. I also play Final Fantasy VII Remake, not on PlayStation, but when it came to PC, and replaced Barrett with Master Chief and made Tifa Sailor Moon, and just had my funs with it because again, that's why I like playing those games on PC, man, and just having that versatility. So to see these come possibly to Xbox, or to at least get other people to start experiencing, because Final Fantasy 15 is one of the better selling Final Fantasies that we have had over the last decade.
I bought it.
No other
that game
game,
deal.
no other. But the thing about it though, Boom, no other Final Fantasy after has sold as much.
Nope.
Right. So it's like, obviously it did something well. But I think the biggest thing that it did well is it did sell everywhere. It was on all platforms. It was available, right? So, and I do think Final Fantasy as well is at a point in its life as an IP, because they have not done something consistent. They don't make a traditional version, that more turn-based style game. And then also do the action style. Like, they're trying to do all more action. Some people think it's because of that. I think it's because they don't lean more into what makes Final Fantasy a fantasy RPG. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. Digging deeper into the gods, the different lores, the different characters, the different reality. Like, just there's so much potential with Final Fantasy that they don't have to take themselves overly serious with it. It has always had a beautiful art style. The FMVs were always dope. Like, they had that Blizzard thing going on. They're one of the few people that have that similar style to where they can release an anime-esque type of thing, or a movie-esque type thing, CG type thing, and it's like, man, is this how the game looks? So you get it. Of course not. You get pixels back in the day. Now we get something that's a little bit more akin to it, and just it feels special in many ways, but not enough people seemingly connect with it or recognize it for what it is. And I think it's really weird to see that, especially on platforms where it's an Eastern platform. For Sony, you would imagine that the love for Final Fantasy would continue to thrive no matter what, because it has been known to be on that platform since almost the very beginning, outside of Nintendo. So to see one of the most, I think it'd be hard to argue, popular gaming IPs have this thing to where it is having a difficult time selling to a modern audience. I think it just makes sense for them to come over. And I do think that Microsoft maybe gives them a little bit extra on top to drop those games into Game Pass for at least 90 days, 3 months. So people can experience these games maybe and get an influx. And I think that would be really good for Final Fantasy 16, because 16 has DLC that came out, right? So if you get people in the Game Pass day one, or you say, oh, with Final Fantasy 16 is going to be available to you Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, and then I jump in and I see I only need to purchase the DLC to have my full experience with this game. Again, I'm saving myself $40. I'll probably beat the game that same month. Like, there's just so much inherent value that can be had there. And these are the type of plays that I want to see Microsoft and Xbox continue to make, because the inherent value is almost undeniable, right? It's extremely dope to see more people starting to recognize the Eastern flavor as well. I think anime has done a great justice along with JRPGs and such. They have definitely translated over, but I do think that anime, that transition, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, and the like, have helped One Piece, have helped people be more welcoming to that Eastern flavor. So it being these games, these Square Enix games coming everywhere, full slate, whatever it needs to be. I was telling Pong the other day during our Space Marine stream that I think what's going to end up happening is that Final Fantasy, the third part of Final Fantasy is going to release day and date to everything, right? And maybe you have like the classic you used to have back in the day, the 3-disc set, right? And it came in that binder case or whatever it was that I always thought was super dope. Maybe that's something that they do for that third version, right? Along with making it available to everybody, just kind of, and that maybe has the chance to reinvigorate Final Fantasy in a completely different way, maybe open more eyes to it in that way as well. So I think this is just the right moves, man. It makes sense. The head of Square was saying the same thing. Obviously, Square was not moving in the right direction, and you're seeing it as well with Foam Stars, right? I think Foam Stars is going to end up coming over it as well at some point, if they don't bring it to PC and they don't see some form of an influx. Because again, get Foam Stars maybe a copycat of Splatoon, but there's no other game out there that's like it. So it can be unique. Maybe it's just not in the front of the right audience. So there's a lot of different opportunities that can be had here. I want to see Square continue to be successful. I also want them to mind some of the diversity issues that they seemingly have with how they treat certain characters and how they look at people on a global level. Again, we won't get too much into that, but it's there's a lot that goes into this, and I think it's going to be dope to see that whole slate come on by and get more fans for Square. So.
I mean, I think it seems like it's a natural transition from them staying specifically with these Sony deals that ultimately hurt their company, right? I mean, the numbers don't lie. Again, this isn't a blue versus green thing, folks. The reality is that PlayStation gamers, which again equate for about 85% of casuals, casual gamers buy 2 and 3 games a year if you're lucky. And they only pay for what they need to get online. That's it. They're not buying top tier, not spending $180 on the ultimate service. They don't care. They just want to play their PlayStation, whether it be the 4 or the 5, whatever, and they want to play their games that they normally play, most of which are probably free to play. Call of Duty's in there, Apex is in there, PUBG's in there, Fortnite, of course, and whatever other free play stuff. And of course, you'll get the 2Ks. The basketball, you get the WWE, you get an occasional Spider-Man in there, a God of War maybe, or GTA, right? That's just what they play. Fuzzy, before I bring you in on the conversation, I do got to catch up on the 3 super chats that are here, and then we'll get your thoughts and theories about why this is a big deal. Because I think them coming to finally these games coming to Xbox is massive. I'd love to see them come to Xbox Game Pass, not because I'm a cheapo, because look, if I have to buy Final Fantasy VII again, I'm buying it again. I want to play that on my Xbox. I got halfway through it, loved it on the PS4, but will enjoy it more on the Xbox because that's where I enjoy gaming, and I will buy that game. I will play through that game. I love Final Fantasy VII, just an amazing series, and 7 was really good. Again, they cut it into pieces, sure, but it was really well done. We have JJ saying 117 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, it has been 25 years since the Dreamcast was released in North America. It is early, but Xbox's 25th birthday is in 2 years. Will they do a celebration for their IP? I freaking hope so. Again, we'll see, but that's when they're supposed to launch the next console, 26, right? So maybe, right? Maybe we'll see. Royal Boyle 78. Hello, salutes, brother. Nice to see you in the chat as always. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, boom, Fuzzy Steel. Chat, good afternoon, my brothers. Well, good afternoon as well. He goes, F Sony for raising the controller prices. Yeah, they did that today. You didn't know. Sony raised all of their DualSense controllers by $5. It's a kind of a sneaky, really sneaky thing to do. And man, this is what I'm talking about, folks. If I saw it, I didn't want to make a big deal over it because you know what? The minute I say anything, it's up. That guy's an Xbot. He's flying the green. Not forget it as a consumer. Forget that. Who just bought the Astrobot controller because I'm a nerd, right? I bought it, but they sneaked that fight. Why? Why are they raising the price of these controllers? Because that's what Sony does. And you know what? No one challenges them. No one says anything to them. Not even the press. You will not see I will be surprised if you see one story on this. It's like, there's a market leader. You know, it's all right. It's fine. Don't be that consumer. Fight back. Fight the man, if you will. Let's see. Goes. There's no excuse for that crap. You're right, Roy Boyle. Sony looks like they're hurting for money. Bad. Also loved the Call of Duty beta. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I have so many games to play. I gotta get back to Astrobot. I'm loading up. I can't wait to play Space Marine. That every video I see, I'm like, why am I not playing this game? It's because of Call of Duty. Somehow they have tapped my nerve as a non-Call of Duty player to be more excited to play online than the single player. That hasn't happened, folks, since the Xbox 360 days. You know, if you're a fan of the show, you understand. I'm like, nah, multiplayer. I'm going right to single player. Not this time. I almost feel depressed that I can't turn on and just play Call of Duty or multiplayer. It's crazy. I don't want to play 3. I want to play Black Ops. That's what I want to play. Thank you for the generosity, Royal Boy. I appreciate you being here, brother. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he goes on to say, wow, this is crazy. I have 365 plus days into Grand Theft Auto Online, and I hope they allow some carryover for GTA 6. There is no first-party game I am wanting more than this title. That's passion online. Right there, folks. Yeah. Online is I honestly think it's going to be a difficult transition. Because if you are
it's going to be a reset.
It's gonna ruffle a lot. It's gonna ruffle some feathers, folks. I mean, yeah.
Why carry it over? It's a 10-year-old. It's a 11-year-old game.
11-year-old game.
Got to move on. Unfortunately, I mean, you spent your time with it. It would be great for it to move some things forward. I mean, I do like the idea of continued progression with your character, and I would like something like that at least to help tie you over to, because that would pull in a lot of people. You could put that on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever, and people would be like, "Oh man, I can carry over. I haven't played GTA in years, man. I just got tired of it. I mean, I could carry over my character."
You know why I don't have any faith in what you're saying, Steel? It's not because you're saying it. Why I have no faith is because when they released the Xbox One version of GTA 5, you couldn't carry over your save. Your single player save. You literally had to abandon your single player game on the 360 and start anew on. It
worked for online characters.
Yeah, it did work for online. We'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see.
See what they value.
Well, they value money. They're 2K. They value money. So we'll see. But listen, Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this. Obviously. The Tokyo Game Show is happening at the end of the month. It is a big deal. Now, is it a monstrous deal? Well, I mean, I guess that your mileage is going to vary. I think it's very important for Xbox to show up big. They are going to show up big. They're showing up there with all of their wares from Bethesda, from Activision, from Xbox Game Studios. We know Tina Amini is running the show. She's already touting that it's gonna be a spectacular presentation for Xbox. I'm excited, but I want to talk about Final Fantasy finally. And again, Jez Corden wouldn't use the words whole slate unless that's what he heard, and that's what he heard. Whole slate meaning that it's unlikely moving forward that PlayStation is going to get any more of these exclusive deals that keep these games off of Xbox. And I think that is great for Xbox players. I think it's even better for Square Enix. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I happen to agree. I think about the only one that we might have to wait a little bit longer would be the Final Fantasy VII, just because of how they're doing that 3-part trilogy, and Sony kicked some money towards the I guess production of that. So we probably won't see Remake and Rebirth until the 3rd part Reunion, or whatever they're going to call it, something. We'll probably get it as kind of like what Steela touched on, as like a 3-game, unit at that point. It'll be like the trilogy collection or something that we'll finally get. We'll have all of the DLC and all 3 parts in one swoop, as opposed to having it broken up. But then again, the timeline on that is like 2026, so it might still be some time. But we'll definitely get Final Fantasy 16. We'll definitely get the pixel remasters, and I think at least the pixel remasters go into Game Pass. It'd be nice to see if 16 comes to Game Pass as well, but not expecting it. But given how well coming into Game Pass worked for Sega and Atlas with Yakuza and the Personas and things like that, I think Square is going to probably go and take that same route, and I'm pretty sure Microsoft will be willing to pay them up front to get those into the service, and it will kind of reintroduce them to the Xbox fan base. So I think at that point, that's probably their best move pushing forward. Have it where a lot of the events that you see in like Final Fantasy 14 start to make sense, and maybe some of the skins carry over, and some of the event stuff will carry over, or you'll get like different rewards or things like that between those games. But it's about time Square finally says yes to money as opposed to just yes to exclusivity deals. But I also think there's going to be a couple of surprises there at the Tokyo Game Show. I think we probably get to see some of the fruit of the labor between Phil and Sarah, making numerous trips to Japan, and how they've talked about all those studios that they've been working with. So I think we get a surprise at the show from at least one, if not a couple studios that they have a new game that will be coming to Game Pass or coming to Xbox in general from that region. I'm still of the notion that I think OD gets released before what is that, Death Stranding 2. So maybe we see more of OD at this point. But I do
big,
think,
dude.
Yeah. But I do think they have a decent show lined up with pretty much everything from Square coming over. It would be nice if we get Foam Stars, but it's not that we need it as much as they need us, because it doesn't seem like the player base is holding up as well over just on the PS5. Like, I still don't understand why they didn't put it on PC at the same time, which would have probably made more sense, at least for Square's standpoint. And the same could be said with Final Fantasy 16, although it is coming to PC now, but we'll probably wind up getting it, on PC and Xbox at the same time. It's just that, maybe it winds up in Game Pass, so that way people on Xbox can give it a try, buy it if they like it, kind of thing, and go from there. But it's time that we get to see all that handshaking they did with Phil on stage pay off. So yeah, they should show up.
Listen, you're gonna get games into the service. I really think that this might be a Xbox Game Pass play. It makes sense. A lot of these games are older, especially Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not so much obviously for Rebirth, which launched this year, which I don't think you're going to get anytime soon, because that's probably still under the marketing deal or the timed exclusivity that Sony had locked up when they made that deal. But Final Fantasy 16 is, was that last year or the year before? That seems like that would be a good drop for Xbox Game Pass. I mean, I bought it for the PlayStation 5. I got it for $30 during Black Friday, which I'm not sorry that I did. I picked the Pixel Remaster one. That one was always a head scratcher to me, because everyone got that but Xbox. Like, even Amazon's Luna got that game, and that game is dope. If you are an OG fan, which I am. I wound up getting it for the Switch. I imported it. Very hard to, it's super rare, worth a lot of money. If you try to look at it online, I wound up picking it up because I'm like, yeah, I love these games. I love the old school Final Fantasy stuff. That was our joint. Me and my brother Dan, forget about it. Ridiculous. But look, it's an exciting time for gaming. It is an exciting time for Xbox gamers. There is a lot in the service. Indiana Jones, which I expect to be my game of the year. Again, I got a chance. The fact that we were recognized, and I say we, meaning me, Mrs. Boom, the channel was recognized by Bethesda to be in this closed door, preview of Indiana Jones. Like I said, I got a chance to see stuff. I mean, I'm not talking about it, but we got a chance to see a lot more than what they showed at the Game Awards. And I am, as an Indiana Jones fan, I cannot wait for this game. It's one of my most anticipated game. I will say this again. This is, doesn't really matter, but I think their collector's edition is a miss for me. I would have loved for it to come with, instead of the globe. I get it from the movies. They always show the plane flying around the globe. I get the 1-to-1. I would have much rather the fedora or the whip, or even the gold idol. A replica of the gold idol from the first Indiana Jones. That I would have easily spent $200-300 on. Nope, but I'm not getting that collector's edition. Nah, it's just no, thank you. I don't got a space. I would find a space for the idol. I don't got a place in this small apartment for a globe. Josie would kill me. So yeah, we're not doing that. Listen, that's gonna do it for us here today. A big thank you to all of the super chats that continue to come in. Oh, real quick, Mrs. Boom and I have settled in on September 27th. What is September 27th? Well, it's a Friday. It's a Breakfast with Boom, which is where we do our big giveaways. And the 25th of September is, well, my 54th birthday. So like we've done the past 5 years, this is our 6th annual. It's my birthday, but we are giving you folks the gifts. That's right. We're giving $500 worth of gift cards away on that Breakfast with Boom. That is the kickoff to the big giveaways that we have in the next 4 months, folks. If you could believe this, again, this is not funded by anybody but who drops a super chat or who's a channel member. We're giving over $4,000 worth away from September to December. Four big giveaways, and it starts September 27th with a $500 giveaway for obviously my birthday bash. We've done it for 6 years. We have another $500 one that we're doing for Mrs. Boom. Her birthday is November 1st, so whatever that particular Friday falls on, we're giving an additional $500 worth of gift cards away. Then the next one will be November 20th. Later that month, we're giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2 to support the devs. We're buying those. We're not getting those from the company. We're not getting them from Microsoft. We are legitimately buying those games and giving them to you fine folks. And of course, closing out 2024 is our biggest giveaway in the channel's history. We're giving away $2,000 in 2 hours for our 6th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick. And again, we can't do any of that without the generosity of the folks. So yeah, over $4,000 worth of giveaways starting at the end of September on the 27th. And all you got to do to win is obviously be subscribed, which is not hard to do. It's free. If you are a channel member or someone that normally drops a super chat, or you get extra entries into it, and the first half of whatever contest we're doing goes exclusively to channel members. So if you're a channel member, you get first crack. Second half, all you got to do is be subscribed, number one, and just be in the chat when we do it live. That's it. That's all you got to do. And if, obviously, we're one of the few shows to do this, and we're very proud of this. We're very proud of the gains that we were able to do. If you are an international viewer, you live in the UK, you live in Africa, you live in Iceland, we will not deny you the prize. We will send you that prize via PayPal to your bank account, whatever the denomination is. And if there is a transfer fee, and if there is a denominational money difference because your money's worth more, we pay for everything. If you win, you pay nothing. Again, we're one of the few channels that actually does that, where we welcome in our international viewers and do not deny them the prize or the prizes. The only time we have to do that is when we do physical stuff, because it gets super expensive for the shipping. But Steele, let's get you out of here, kind sir. Obviously, you're still doing a lot of streaming when it comes to Space Marine 2, and you've been playing with Pong, you've been playing with Mav. It sounds like you're having an absolute blast of the game. Let's talk about living split screen Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with yourself and, of course, your brother from another, Pong Soul. Sell the brand, kind sir. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel? But more importantly, follow you on social media.
Like I say, man, for those who aren't interested, Living Split Screen is a non-console centric platform that's talking about everything going on within the gaming industry. We like to take that RTS approach, pull ourselves out of the world, look at the darker crevices of the map, pull those resources together so we can not only build up our own foundation, but also the foundation for the potential 2 to 3 billion gamers that are out there. And yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of Space Marine here as of late. Space Marine is going to be the I kind of made this declaration. It's more so for myself than anything else. And again, everybody has to have their own self-control. But Space Marine is probably going to be my last game that I actually end up acquiring for the year, because I have other games that I like to continue to play, go back to, and need to wrap up playing Black Myth Wukong as well. Kind of put it down due to some technical issues. So I'll be back to that at some point. But yeah, man, Space Marine 2 was extremely heavy for me right now. Loving everything the multiplayer is giving me. Haven't dived deep into PvE content, but definitely playing that PvP extremely heavy. And for anybody that's interested, you want some unfiltered content, commentary on over live gameplay, check out me and Pong Space Marine 2 gameplay. We played it on Veteran, played the complete story, start to finish, live on cam for you guys. So definitely tune into that if you want some hilarious opinions, thoughts. So we even did it live for Living Split Screen as well, in place of doing a traditional show. But we will be back to tradition this Saturday. So I greatly appreciate you having me here. Boom. Fuzzy, is always a fantastic time. And let's see whose boots we can get wet this week with all the hot takes and positive opinions that we got, man. So much love. Y'all stay safe out there.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, as always. Shout out to Will Broke Boy Lewis, who drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, boom, from Jersey, and dropped a forget about it. Now, I'm actually from the Boogie Down Bronx, folks. I grew up in the Pro Jays on Yates Avenue in the Bronx. That's my roots. Obviously, I moved to Co-op. My parents moved to Co-op City when I was 6, which of course was still in the Bronx. And from Co-op City to where we are here in Westchester County, New Rochelle, New York, that's where we currently reside. But yeah, I grew up in the Bronx, and I went to the school in the Bronx, was a police officer in the Bronx. I actually went back to the same neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid, and I policed that neighborhood for 21 years. It is the greatest story that you'll never hear because it doesn't sell newspapers. But I even went back to, I graduated Christopher Columbus High School in 89, went back in 97 as the youth officer, and I locked up a lot of gangbangers. It was the greatest part of my career working with the kids. And I went back to my old stomping grounds as a kid and was a community police officer. Best 21 years of my life. I met my wife in that school, as a matter of fact. She worked there as well. Well, that's history. But Fuzzy, let's sell your brand, brother. But we're not just selling your brand, because obviously everybody knows Fuzzy, and now he's infamous, right? The guy that hates Astrobot. Boo this man, everybody. He obviously has an incredible YouTube channel that is dedicated to gaming, but it's also focusing on racing. And again, I say this all the time, it's the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre. But his wife just released a horror podcast, and I want you to sell that brand as well. Talk about it, brother.
Well, as always appreciate being on here with you guys. Love the energy, love interacting with you guys, as well as the chat. Just love everybody's takes on things. Even if we don't agree on which game we like and stuff, it's always a fun time being here, just giving our thoughts on things. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also follow my wife, Ferocious Fee 78 on Twitter, and also do a search if you're a horror fan, whether it's monsters, found footage, slashers, vampires, zombies. Definitely give us a follow. Do a search on YouTube for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. Every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We usually talk about a movie that may not be a mainstream movie, but one that you might enjoy to watch and give you guys our feedback on it. So definitely check us out. And then for every other podcast I'm on is gaming related. Like later on tonight, definitely check out FSP at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight on Fun Speculations channel. And then hope to see everybody right back here in this chat for Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday morning at 10 a.m. Hope to see you there. Thanks again.
Again, big thank you to the 600 people that were watching live across Twitter and, of course, YouTube. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for all the views, for all the likes, even the dislikes. It's still engagement. Last week, we were notified by YouTube. We crossed another ridiculous milestone in 2024. 6.5 million views in under 6 years. I don't even know how we did it. Honestly, we are thrilled and so humbled by the generosity and, of course, by the simple click of a sub. And we're on the hunt, folks, for 16K. We kind of stalled out a little when we hit 15. We're like 1550, and we've kind of been hovering there. If you're finding the channel for the first time, you enjoyed the conversation, please consider subscribing, not only to me, but to everybody that's a part of the shows weekly. Obviously, shout out to Steele for joining us and Fuzzy Belvedere. Sub their channels. All of their information is in the show notes. It's 2 clicks, 1 to get in, 1 to sub, and you're done. And of course, I want to say a big thank you to the super chats that pop in here, that continue to come in on a regular basis, because we can't do these big giveaways without them. And listen, we are giving away, $4,000 in the next 4 months. I don't know what other channels are doing it, but we're doing it because we don't feel obligated to do it. We want to do it because of how generous you find folks have been with us. It's literally the least that we can do, and we couldn't get there without your help. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, folks, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.